17 February 2023. In this news flash I want to talk about energy and science in general. I just want to mention it that I've received a few messages of people that are actually quite rude about the fact that I do so-called pro-Russian videos. And I've got news for them. They can say and do what they like. All I'm doing is I'm giving you the facts, and you have to make the decision for yourself. And unfortunately here in South Africa, my generation were very well programmed about the red danger, and we were programmed well. There's a lot of my family and so that is now no longer on speaking terms with me because of the programs that I do, but I feel the same for them as I felt for those that gave me shit about the snake bite. Now, 2 years later, it turned out that I was right and they were wrong, but they will not admit it. That's their problem. All I'm glad is I don't have plastic pumping through my veins, and that's it. As far as the Russians is concerned, the biggest problem that we have here in South Africa is that we never had the really good information about Russia, and the information that we had was the propaganda. And I do invest a lot of time to do my research, and every day I'm astounded about the things that I see of that country. The people, the Russian people, is actually amazing people. But let's leave it there. This week we had this situation with the Russian warship that was in Cape Town to refuel, and the DA made a mood of a sound about it, and that mayor of Cape Town shot his fucking mouth off about it. But let's leave it there. We're all sitting with a major energy crisis here in South Africa and across the world. And I stumbled onto this, and it's worth listening carefully. Jacob made this post. The other day in Russia, there was an event that no one noticed in the fog of propaganda. The BN800 reactor was brought to the nominal power level with a full load of innovative MOX fuel. Thus it was almost possible to close the nuclear cycle. This means that the perpetual nuclear reactors have actually appeared. The fuel is recycled and used, and an example of the atom for the benefit of mankind, which today is in particular contrast with calls for preventative nuclear strikes in the middle of Europe and the joy of blowing up bridges and civilians. In short, as people in the know said, the successful testing of such a reactor means almost waste-free nuclear power with access to uranium-238 as opposed to classical uranium-235, which will last for millions of years. If everything is really so, then humanity has decided the technical issues of energy for the foreseeable future, and it happened here in the Urals. Without exaggeration, a breakthrough, which oddly enough, for some reason, was not promoted and broadcast throughout the country. Now, I'm trying to get more information about this thing, but it seems to me that they are very close. Some of the documents I saw about this is that they reckon that they load that reactor, and then when it starts up, it will run for about 100 years without being reloaded again. In any case, I thought you may be interested in knowing that, because we have been told that the Russians are cave dwellers and they live under rocks. And then I stumbled onto this thing. This was quite interesting. The Soviet town of scientists in the Siberian forest still makes great discoveries. in the 1950s, a whole town was built in a Siberian forest so that the best Soviet physicists, mathematicians and biologists could work there. And this is apparently a sort of a closed community there in the middle of the wilderness. And it is just scientists living there. And they are doing amazing work. The Soviet town of scientists in the Siberian forest still makes great discoveries. Soviet city of scientists located in the middle of Siberia, the small town smack in the middle of a real forest, is still buzzing with activity. Historically, its physicists developed one of the first hadron colliders in the world. Archaeologists discovered a new branch of evolution, Denisovan man, and geneticists domesticated wild foxes. Scientists may make their discoveries in completely different fields of research, but they all work and live in one place, Akademgorodok, near Novosibirsk, built in the late 1950s in a dense forest. More than half a century later, Siberian scientists continue to study our universe, inventing new materials and technologies. In addition to a couple of dozen research institutes, the town also has a new technology park and is home to Novosibirsk State University. This is amazing for me. That nuclear research center they've got in the Urals, once again, deep in the Bundus. But the Russians are dedicated to build a better future. And they are very disciplined, and the scientists are committed. And you must just take this into consideration. Putin has decided this year, 2023, the Russian schools are abandoning the EU curriculum that they were on for a long time, and they are reverting back to the old Soviet system in the schools, because they are of the opinion that the Western curriculum is not focused on getting the best out of the students. And we can see it. Look at the shit that is going on in the schools in America. Those children, look at what those children are exposed to instead of learning. Same thing in China. The Chinese graders are already working on mathematics and scientific projects. And in America, they teach the same age children that men can have babies. In any case, I thought this was something interesting that you should know, just to broaden your base of knowledge. And remember this thing about that Russian nuclear reactor. Please give me a like and subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.